What is going on, everyone? Welcome back on Block Gems. So today we will talk about NFT whales and specifically about a bot that I'm working on that has as an aim to monitor the activity of big NFT holders, so big collectors, basically NFT whales. And I heavily recommend you to follow this bot on Twitter. Is called BlockGems bot, and I will tell you the details of what this bot does and what the ambition, the long-term ambition is in a second. But before we do that, guys, please remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and also, guys, turn the notification bell on because you want to stay up to date. I tend to upload time-sensitive content. So let's jump right in. If you guys are investors in the cryptocurrency space, and I assume you are if you're following this channel, you might be familiar with the notion of on-chain analytics for cryptocurrencies. A typical example of this is provided by products such as Glassnode that tell you many things about on-chain metrics, about holders, about addresses and how much they own and entities and so on and so forth. And I will just tell you about one specific thing that might be useful for our intents and purposes. And it's the fact that typically, and this is a notion that everyone knows more or less, when whales are accumulating, that is a buy signal, or it tends to be a buy signal. When whales are starting to dump, they are starting to sell, they tend to start selling into strength, and they sell to the weak hands. They sell to retail, and then usually the cycle starts peaking, and we are in the proximity of a bear market. Now, I'm not a specialist when it comes to BTC or in general on-chain metrics for cryptocurrencies, but what I'm trying to do is to offer a similar perspective or a similar angle to the NFT space. And this is because we have essentially a very similar situation. If we have a very large collector of NFTs, if we are in the presence of a collection that is extremely scarce because there are only few pieces that are available, and if that collection is concentrated, so the units of that collection, the items that compose that collection are concentrated in the hands of very few individuals, then we want to know what these individuals are doing with their works, with their NFTs, because if the supply is so concentrated, these individuals do have the power to manipulate the market, exactly as it happens for Bitcoin. They do have the power, at the very least, to influence where the market is going. Or at the very least, you might want to know if big NFT holders are selling or if they are hoarding at that moment. So just as a means of an example, I want to look together with you guys at some of the largest collectors for famous collections. And one prime example is Journey Crypto. As you guys know, he's a big influencer. I am a big estimator of his work in general. Also creates amazing content on YouTube. And he owns absolutely ridiculous amount of Bored Ape. We are, if I'm not mistaken, at 105 Bored Apes. If you do the math, guys, this is easily well into the 8 figures. So this is a huge collection, and actually he's the largest holder. This portfolio is the largest portfolio when it comes to Bored Apes. Now, the reason why I'm taking this as an example is because a portfolio that holds 105 apes has the power to at least very slightly influence the market. And I'm not saying this in the least that He wants to do that, he might do that, but I'm saying as a fact that if he was to run for the exit immediately and start selling everything below floor price, de facto the Bored Apes would be worth less for them, at least for a very short period of time while he's selling, right? So it does have an impact that is different from the small guy just selling one single collectible. And in general, whenever a market is very small in size, it is much easier to manipulate. So when we have a very small market that is in the millions, not in the hundreds of billions, it is easier to manipulate, it is easier to influence, because it is easier to take liquidity in and out of that market. And as the NFT space is very much in the infancy state, we are precisely in that position where few individuals that have a lot of liquidity or a lot of assets that compose a given collection are in the position to influence a given market. Another example, and there are many examples such as this one, guys. This is just one of them, but this is another example. This is an unnamed address on OpenSea, and this guy owns something like 60 Fidenza. If you do the math, you understand that this is an enormous amount of money in value, but it's also possible that if he or she wanted to dump the price, he could do so, or she could do so. So at the very least, I would be interested in knowing what these NFT whales are doing. I don't know about you, but I would be interested in learning if they are hoarding, if they are selling, and from there then I can make my own decisions, right? It doesn't mean that necessarily it's going to be a sell signal for me, but knowing these things might allow me to make better informed decisions, so to speak. So the intention of the bot that I've built is rather simple. For now, I'm just monitoring sales. And what is happening here is that basically every 24 hours, the bot restarts and iterates the script. And in this case, it just noted that and tweeted that Pranksy sold some stoner cats, some World of Women, I think this is. And the amounts are not big at all. This is basically just business as usual, right? Ordinary transactions. But if there were to be an enormous amount of value that was being siphoned out of a certain portfolio, meaning that if a whale was selling a lot of NFTs, we would see a lot of tweeting. Now, when I say whales, I actually mean a very small amount of addresses, and this is because I'm building the portfolio of wallets that I'm monitoring. Right now, I'm around a dozen of wallets that I'm monitoring, which is nothing, but you guys can help me identify the whales. And for this reason, please contact me. You can contact me on Twitter. This is my Twitter handle @MarcoDeFalco3, number 3. You can find me on Twitter. I'm rather active. You can DM me and send me addresses that you would like to monitor. Of course, make sure they're big addresses, they're big collectors, they're basically NFT whales, so that the bot will be able to fulfill its purpose. And so this is the first part of the job, looking at sales, looking if they're dumping a certain collection. The second step will be looking at transfers. And this is because not necessarily an NFT whale wants to sell using the largest address they own. And this is because they sort of know that they are being looked at the microscope. If they're selling too much from a given address, from their main address, that is not seen as a great thing to do. Or at least I wouldn't see it that way. I wouldn't see it as a great thing to do, especially if you have been pumping a given project, if you've been talking very positive a given project. But they might be indeed selling from another wallet to which they have transferred NFTs previously in order to make a transaction more discreetly. Now, am I saying that influencers do that? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is something that is possible, and so you want to monitor transfers as well. Or at the very least, this is an opportunity for analysis, because you want to watch out for these situations in case they arise. There is also a third use case, and it would be looking at purchases. If they are purchasing enormous amounts of a given collection from a given project that has recently started to mint, then you might be interested in investigating the project further, especially if they're going to discuss it on their channels. So assuming they are also influencers or they're particularly active on Twitter. So there are many use cases, or at the very least I see many reasons why one might be willing to monitor NFT Whales activities. And this is why I started this project. I'm starting very small, just a dozen of addresses, just looking at sales, but I will be building the portfolio of wallets more and more in the upcoming days and weeks, and I will be implementing more functionalities. The next one will probably be transfers. The second one will probably be purchases. But guys, please let me know if you have any ideas about this bot or other analytics, other products, because this is what I'm trying to do right now. I want to build value. I want to build something that is appreciated, is valued a lot by the community. And so if you have any ideas, also criticism, I'm here to learn together with you guys. If I do something stupid, let me know, and let's try to improve together and make the space better together. All right. So if this video and this kind of content helps you to better your own research or to be more informed and make better informed decisions, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Until the next video, guys. Ciao, ciao.